My name is Lindy Lamini and I'm CEO of the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Response Fund. The Gbvf Response Fund was set up as a response to the call by civil society for the need for resourcing to be made available to community-based organizations, NPOs that are fighting the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide in communities. There are a lot of organizations overburdened by the number of cases that we see in the country, and given that we have one of the highest incidents of gender-based violence and femicide in the world, these organizations have been operating on the ground with insufficient funding.
Dumelang, my name is Ritabile Mapukedi Mosese, and I'm the Deputy Director of Lawyers Against Abuse, or LVA for short. So South Africa has really great laws on paper, and yet our GBV prevalence rates remain 5 times the global average. What LVA does is try to bridge the gap between the law on paper and women's lived realities. Our mission really is to strengthen the criminal justice system's response to gender-based violence. LVA has 4 project areas, the first being direct legal services. This is assisting the victim or survivor from the moment a case is opened all the way through to completion. So we assist in making the initial report to the police, we follow up with the investigating officer, we liaise with the prosecutor and provide support at court. And in a parallel process, our psychosocial team takes care of the client's psychological and emotional well-being. This is through individual sessions and group therapy. We also recognize the importance of the caregiver in supporting minor rape victims. And so we have psychoeducational workshops to capacitate caregivers in order to support their children. We know that the first step in realizing your rights is actually being aware of what your rights are. And so we have a community engagement team that does talks at malls, at clinics, and at schools, educating communities about gender-based violence. LVA provides services within the community. A great part of our model is repeated engagement with the same state actors in order to shift attitudes. And so we're based in Diepsloot, Orange Farm, and Hillbrow. And for people outside those areas, we recognize that such critical legal support services are rare, so people can call us on 072-031-1840, and we can then walk them through the legal process and tell them what ought to be happening when things go wrong. People can also send us an email at info@lva.org.za. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
I'm Erika Jacobs. I'm the Managing Director at Newell Foundation. The Newell Foundation was established in 1980, and over the last 42 years, it has evolved to service the community at different levels. Our focus specifically is community and social development, and we offer services at our community center in Lavender Hill for the community of Lavender Hill, Steenberg, and Vrygroen, and surrounding communities. It's a range of services ranging from an advice office, safe house, ECD, our education for work program, and we have an after-school program for young children between the ages of 6 and 18. Over the last 2 years, the COVID pandemic has really hit us quite hard. Considering that we are an organization that serves the community, we see firsthand how it's impacted on the community. We have a lot more unemployment, we have a lot more dependency on social grants, relief grants, etc. We also see a lot more people standing in food kitchens because of food insecurity. And then in terms of people who access our services, we also have a higher demand for mental health services. Survivors of trauma and violence that access our services. And I think the general sense in the community is that it feels less safe.
What we saw with the pandemic is an increase in cases of domestic violence. A lot of women found themselves under restricted movement conditions given the lockdown regulations, and they were stuck at home with their perpetrators. I recall getting a call from a woman who said, "I have to come into work. He's going to kill me at home." And so we saw quite a bit of that happening. The restricted movement meant that people are stuck with abusers, they don't have access to justice, they don't have access to support.
The one thing I would wish to add or amplify is my sense of gratitude to the GBVF Response Fund for allowing us to do this work, for providing the support that is needed to ensure that we continue to make change in the community.
The JSE has been a wonderful supporter of the fund in quite a number of ways, not only its direct contribution, both in the last financial year at launch as well as now, but there are also a host of initiatives that we have collaborated on that are meant to drive awareness of the issue, that are meant to ensure that corporates are aware of how they can support the fund and the fight against the scourge.
We are creating change for my niece, for the women who come after us, for the women who are here today. We are creating change for family systems so that we can heal as a collective. What LVA does is important because we are based in the community and we are committed, not during 16 days of activism, not during Women's Month. We have been here for years and will continue to provide that support.